Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we are now seeing a little bit of a big media storm and everyone freaking out right now when it comes to the PlayStation 5. Now, if you guys do or do not know, the terms of service typically for a lot of big types of companies, retail companies, whatever it might be, typically are usually, well, spent millions upon millions upon millions of dollars by very uptight lawyers trying their best to go make sure that everything is basically working as best they can for the company itself. And right now, there's been a PlayStation thing that's bringing up to a lot of attention to a lot of folks out there in the gaming universe, discussing the fact that now PlayStation might be trying to go and ban you from lending or borrowing out games as a whole. Now, before we want to go do the deep dive into this one, I do believe this has been on the website for quite some time, and I do believe we've also already had officials kind of make comments on this too as well. If I have to ever make a follow-up video, I don't mind doing that, but right now it seems like a lot of folks, especially on social media, on Twitter, on Reddit, on everything, are freaking out right now about these big changes, about why PlayStation could be potentially banning you from lending out or even reselling games as a whole. Now, I want to kind of go give a little bit of another one double whammy. Wow, this is kind of hot news right now. A lot of people are kind of clamoring all about. I do want to remind you folks, I don't believe this is the current policy, or it's also something that's very hard to even stop. Let's say like a GameStop or selling something on an eBay or Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever. It's very hard to also patrol too as well, even if these are being pushed into proper changes. Although once again, I do think these have been around for a very long time. So I'm going to go talk about this, talk about the drama, talk about everything else, and hope you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the $500 or PlayStation 5 Slim giveaway ongoing too as well. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream you guys want to follow. Down below, we're probably live up on Twitch this second, and let's go and dive on into this. So as I mentioned, we've been seeing a little bit of big news when it comes to the PlayStation itself. Now, this is kind of a big thing, at least in my opinion, mainly because they're changing up the terms of service on the PlayStation website. And this is kind of a big thing to kind of go and know. And I'm going to highlight some of these things and talk about these. And one of the biggest things I want to go mention or talk about is that you cannot apparently lend basically your friends games. You cannot sell your games physically or digitally, and as well that also might be correspondent with basically never allowing your account to be sold. So let's say you have a PlayStation account, you've had it for 15 years, have a bunch of games, transactions, microtransactions, DLCs, trophies, whatever. You believe you also cannot sell that, and as well, you cannot also apparently even live stream or broadcast the games that are quote-unquote available. Now, I'm going to give you guys the big list over here, kind of talk about over here in general, because people have been showing the sun up. People have been talking about it. Even as of right now, we even saw even Inside Gaming go and try to go make some post about the fact that Sony is banning their resale of physical games. So once again, this is intriguing because in the terms of service itself, you basically have to abide by and look towards. It is now apparently confirmed in their TOS. Now, apparently this is also an older TOS too. We've also had Sony executives already state you can still resell stuff, but it's intriguing to note that it's kind of getting attention now. Mainly because some folks are claiming that some things were changed in the actual terms of service itself, and that's why people are even noticing this stuff and highlighting stuff on up. I'm not sure how valid those claims are, but I do think this is not going to change anything, especially now with old executives making comments on this. But some big things to kind of note from the TOS. You cannot lend your friends your games, either physically or digitally. So that'd be in the correspondence of, let's say you have a physical game disc of God of War, and you want to go give it to your neighbor, or your best friend, or your buddy, work buddy, whatever, and then they go put in their console. In theory, that is technically against the TOS. Now, is PlayStation going to stop you from doing that? Probably not. Is PlayStation going to ban you? We've never seen anyone ban for this so far. But it is also things they're kind of calling out where they're like, hey, maybe they don't really want this. Or maybe this might be a future change too as well. Because even if they're saying right now, or the past few years has been publicly okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that they can't always, this is already in their terms of service, so they can basically go and act on it whenever they would want to in the future. You cannot also now apparently even sell your games physical or digital. Digital makes sense because it's tied to your account. It could be tied to a credit card information. PlayStation Plus doesn't want to deal with that. But physically as well makes no sense. You obviously are still having listings on eBay, on Facebook, or whatever it might be. You cannot live stream or broadcast your games. Now this one for me would be a scary one, mainly because I have made YouTube videos on reviews and games, but as well I've also done things like streaming. I'm probably live on Twitch right now playing some games, and that's a big thing to kind of note. is because if they ever went fully blocked out streaming, which in theory PlayStation's not the most uppity, but if you guys know, Nintendo's always been really rough when it comes to these things. And Nintendo took a very long time for people to be able to go even monetize their Mario Karts or their Super Mario Wonders or whatever it may be. But when it comes to PlayStation, they've never done any banning for this. So I don't think you guys have to be worried about this, but it does seem like a lot of folks are freaking out. A lot of comments about this have been scared. We're seeing a lot of tweets about these everywhere. It's all over the place. You cannot also say anything bad about the PlayStation brand, which is funny because even I myself can be like, PlayStation sucks. And I would want you to go and complain because that's just an opinion. Now, I think PlayStation's fine, don't get me wrong, but I would definitely go and say PlayStation sucks a lot if they ever stop people from able to go and sell their physical games. I don't usually do it. I'm more of a collector, but either way, if they actually went hardcore on this TOS, that'd be horrible. You cannot sell your account or buy another person's account. I'm okay with this one. You cannot trade. I'm not okay with that one. They have all your voice and text communications. They'll give it to law enforcement if they need to. And this has all been stuff that's been there for a while. PlayStation as a whole has discussed this, and that's kind of why people are maybe kind of deleting some of these things, because people might be a little bit more on the worried side, might be a little bit more stressed side, although this has been there for a while, so if they haven't been acting on it for a while, it's probably fine. Although it is something to keep note in the background, because this is actually technically what you've agreed to and legally what they're allowed to do as well. If you give them good feedback or ideas, they can use them and owe you nothing. They can prevent you from accessing your content any time, basically banning your account. You own 0 of your games, though, including physical games and much more. So there has apparently been some changes, though, to this TOS, which people have been kind of concerned at. Some folks are saying that this has been the same TOS for 10 years, and we've had tweets from executives confirming that it's fine to sell stuff. And some folks are saying that some of this have actually been changed, which is why it's kind of been a big media storm as of today. So maybe we'll give you guys a better rundown tomorrow as we have more information, we see more stuff, what's going on. But they've also had a big chance to say, too, as well, when it comes to licensing. Now, this is a little bit more of a scary thing because, as you guys probably know, there's a big issue with digital ownership and basically what happens 5, 10, 15 years down the road. Or what if Sony right now with the Discover thing, which is some people are assuming because of the Discover issue, they want to change their TOS. And the basically was that people owned and bought a bunch of games from Discover, like the big media outlet, like TV shows. And then they were all basically forcibly removed because the licensing rights were gone from PlayStation, so anyone who bought it on the PlayStation Store is not able to access the actual things they bought. And now that's gone. They literally spent money for it, and now those things are gone. That was a big controversy, and I complained about it, and I still think it's a big issue at the end of the day. But it goes to show that your license to use software is non-exclusive. Personal license to use the software for private use only on the applicable authorized systems, as indicated by the box of disk-based software in the product description for digital software, or otherwise notified by us to you at the time, and only in Europe, the Middle East, Africa, India, Russia, and Oceania too as well. Your license to use games is not transferable, which also kind of ties into you cannot sell games, TOS, etc., etc. You must not use the software commercially, broadcast it or charge for its use, or make other public performance of it too as well without explicit permission, which also maybe ties into live streaming, or let's say you're at a bar for whatever reason and you're paying people money, or maybe Patreon. I can see Patreon exclusive content ties with PlayStation, Sony software, or leaks. I can see that being there too as well. You must not lease, rent, sublease, publish, modify, adapt, or translate a portion of the software, which is also intriguing for companies like GameFly, where they actually might be technically breaking their TOS. You must not emulate the software legally. I don't think that's allowed because I think if you have the ownership, you're fine. Although it also might go and tie into other different things for your limiting of the use of software, which could also lead into emulation too as well. Now, right now, like I said, Sony's not really pursuing a lot of this type of stuff, and some of this may be a little bit on the older side, but it is intriguing to know either way. You must not reverse engineer, decompile, or disassemble any copy or any portion of the software you have. You must not go and bypass or disable any encryptions too, which is also kind of tied to emulation or people trying to PS5 emulate software too as well. This is also more for pirating and basically just stealing software, stealing data and stuff like that too. And you just have to have everything authorized. Now, the resale one's big, and this is the one that I think people have added recently. You must not resell either disc-based games or digital games unless expressly authorized by us, and if the publisher is another company, additionally by the publisher. Now, once again, this apparently has been around for a while. It has apparently been already tweeted out and accepted that it is okay that you can do this from a 2013 tweet. But with all these different types of things, people are concerned about all of this because we don't necessarily know if they have been proper changes. Right now, I've been seeing the 7.1 pop up quite a bit, and some people are saying this actually was a new edition. Now, I didn't have a Wayback Machine or whatever to go look back over there, so I'll give you guys a better highlight and proper run due maybe tomorrow if you guys would like. But at the same time, time, this is like concerning because it is technically in the TOS. So even if they don't act on it from Facebook or Craigslist or whatever, if they do maybe see and maybe add like serial IDs, maybe to game disc in the future, and it's like kind of basically locked to your console, or as well with them trying to push more to digital, it may still get once again rid of the secondhand gaming. And overall, it is technically against this, and they do not want you to do this anyway. So it is technically banning you from doing it overall. So give me your thoughts and comments. I do think this is fine. If you guys do it, want to resell stuff, you're not going to get banned. It's been around for a while, but if there is a big change in the TOS, which has kind of been splurging all around the internet, it's intriguing to go note either way. So I'll give you guys more talks and comments very soon. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on for a $500 giveaway or PS5 giveaway, and follow the Twitter and Twitch down below for bonus entries. And I appreciate y'all so much for watching here in the first place.